Hi, fam! Spring breaks have come to an end, and school age kiddos are testing, college and graduate programs are nearing finals, and graduations are just around the corner. But whether you're a parent, a partner, or part of the cherished chosen fam, this time of year can feel like a marathon to reaching some goals. So join me, along with two amazing content creators, because it's time to kick back, have some fun, and play some games. I'm Nicole Morris, licensed marriage and family therapist and mental health correspondent. And let me be the first to say, welcome to the family. The OCD family, that is. I am here to create a community of support for family members, spouses, partners, parents, adult children, as there may be adult words, and chosen family of OCD sufferers and their community. I've had over 22 years of experience in the mental health field, but please note that this information does not qualify or substitute as a diagnostic evaluation, therapy, or treatment, and it is presented on an as-is basis. Please follow up with a qualified mental health provider in your area regarding concerns for yourself or loved ones. Thank you for joining us today. Now, let's get started. Okay, fam. So, last Friday, if you follow OCD Family Podcast on Instagram, you may have caught my live with former guests and friends, Alie Garza, LCSW, and Madison at Obsessively Strong. Alie is an OCD therapist and an IOCD advocate who shared vulnerably about her experience going into and leaving residential treatment for OCD. Madison is my fellow ginger who ailed with me about life as a lived experience warrior, learning inference-based CBT, and becoming an OCD therapist herself. So as always, I'm going to have the deets on these lovely ladies over on this episode's blog at OCDFamilyPodcast.com, including links to their past episodes and where you can follow them on social. And you know what, fam? Y'all are in for a treat because both of these ladies are so incredibly funny. They are smart and as compassionate as can be. And to that end, if you want to check out the Instagram Live, you can hit up OCD Family Podcast or either of their Instagram handles to hear the entire thing. Because, fam, we covered a lot of ground, and while I was able to fit in our gameplay, I ran out of time before we could even get to our journaling secrets, MASH, and cootie catchers, which, if you know, you know. So check out the Instagram Live if you enjoy this game time with us and are all in for the bonus content. Also, because the game highlights happen during a live, you'll hear us interacting with the chat from time to time. And I want to give an honorable mention to @ERP and me because he was almost an honorary fourth player for a good chunk of that, and he definitely gave us all a good laugh. Okay, with that, just a brief trigger warning because we're going to be talking about a myriad of themes during today's episode. And while I found it to be quite comical, just know whether you're dealing with health OCD, harm OCD, drowning scares, ODing, or even the Oscar Mayer Wiener being, yep, I said it. We are going to be covering all of that and more. So proceed with discretion as needed, but I hope you will give it a try because overall, I think we managed to live our best lives while confronting content, and we even had fun while we did it. So without further ado, let's get to it. So for folks joining, I thought I would just get together with a couple awesome content creators, also therapists, also lived experience warriors, Madison and Alie, to have a fun game night. How are you guys doing, Alie? I haven't seen you in forever.
Oh, I'm doing okay. It's been kind of a wild time in my life, but I'm gearing up actually to have brain surgery in T-2 weeks. Not thrilled about that per se.
Wait a minute. I'm like, wait a minute. She's not joking. We have brain surgery? I love how Madison had therapist face. She was like, and I was like,
I watched Allie's video and it was like really inspiring. So I know about it a little bit too, but I can't imagine what that must be like. As another health OCD girly, it's just.
So can I ask, are you okay with sharing in this forum? Are you like, no, go watch my video?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
Tell.
No, yeah, for sure. So basically, at the peak of my OCD, all my content had to do with health anxiety, and stuff related to that. And at that time, none of these things were going on. But basically, like 2 months ago, give or take, I had this sudden onset of like a bunch of neurological symptoms. And in true form of line, they're like, do I lean in? It's like anything. I'm like, left half of my face is on fire. This is a little weird even for me. And I went in and then they found a brain aneurysm. And then I had to wait a month to see a surgeon. And they were basically said, yeah, like our recommendation is to have surgery. So it's been this fascinating experience of like my OCD, like especially in the past worst case scenario coming through.
Uh-huh.
I've actually had like a bunch of patients through the years that have also had similar experiences of like their worst case scenario coming through.
Right.
And for me, I feel it's hard for me to wrap my brain around when I heard other people going through it. But for me, I've been really noticing like that once your worst case scenario comes true, you kind of feel like, well, I think I'm probably able to solve anything at this point, right? And so for me, it's been like a moment of really being able to look at like all the treatment I've done and how hard I had to fight to like get my life back from OCD and be like,
Yes.
and
Yes.
my worst case scenario happened and I'm able to like make decisions based on myself, like my values, what's important to me rather than OCD. And so it's been a really unique, we'll call it unique experience for me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh my gosh. I am so sorry. You know, it it makes me think because I just had a client that recently and it was much more minor, like got sick, but they were afraid of getting sick. And they were like, OCDs, all of his crap came true for me. And I was like,
Mhm.
actually, I think it shows what a hypocrite OCD is. Because it says if
Mhm.
you do all this shit over here, you'll be
Right?
fine. You'll be okay. Just do it. Do one more
Mhm.
thing. Go to the ER, make sure everything's okay. And then it just
Mhm.
shows what a liar OCD is. And
Right?
I admire your ability to go, you know what? I fought hard to be here, brain aneurysm or not. All I know about brain aneurysms are that they can be fatal. So I'm so glad that it wasn't. But
Yeah.
crap, I'm so sorry. Are you still feeling tingling and burning and things like that?
No, not so much. And so it's yeah, nothing like that. I had that one night, which great. So I don't it would be a lot harder if I was dealing with that because yeah, it's one of those things which is like the perfect recipe for OCD of like you have 4 minutes to get to the ER before X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, oh, that's like a nightmare for a person treating their OCD to hear something because it's extreme urgency, right? Which is the whole problem with OCD. But I
Right.
haven't been noticing that. And it's been a real opportunity, I'll call it, to like focus on living my life knowing that the surgery is going to happen and I don't need to be doing anything different until then, you know?
Yeah. Oh my
Mm.
gosh. I totally got 4 minutes to save the world coming in my mind when you said that, but it's like you beat the odds on that. But I mean, how do they even stop something like that? It would have had to have already naturally stopped, right?
You mean like for the aneurysm rupturing or?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. That's not what happened that night. And so the whole thing that they say is like, and is an aneurysm ruptured, you have like a 50% chance of surviving. And you have like 4 minutes to really get the healthcare services before certain things happen. So in that way, it's the perfect recipe for urgency for OCD, right? And for I also have struggled with panic disorder, fears, or with anxiety disorder. So that is a nightmare kind of setup. And I mean, I haven't gone back to the ER since because I haven't had those symptoms since. And yeah, I'm really glad that this happened after doing ERP
Oh,
because
yeah.
before I'd have no idea how I would have like gotten through this.
Oh my God.
Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Oh my
very
God.
glad.
So, and again, you don't have to go into any more of it that you don't want to, but what's the process of what they're going to do during the surgery?
Yeah, so it's really weird. It's all through the artery. So they go in through your artery, like in at whatever entry point, like your wrist or wrong. I don't even know. I gotta find out there.
Through
I'm
your
gonna lean into the
wrist?
yeah, all the way up to my brain. And then they like purposely clot the artery because the aneurysm basically is like a weakened part in the artery. That's the problem is that it's weakened because rupture and they purposely clot it with like it's not a problem, but I don't ask questions. I stay in my lane. And so, but yeah, and
You're
basically,
embracing it. You're like, okay.
right. I'm like, you know what? It's probably better for me not to know where you're going to answer or what, because ignorance is bliss sometimes. But yeah, so basically, once it's done, I'll be in the hospital one night. And then after a week, I should be like, we'll see, fingers crossed, up and back at it. Otherwise, I have already asked my boss if they could just put my face on an iPad and just like move me around the corner into like Wally, which I wish I wasn't joking how much I'm considering that if it takes me longer. So,
Oh my gosh, the work ethic is strong with you, Alie, that you're like, so how can I get back to work if I literally can't move? Oh, the iPad.
right. I don't even know if it's work ethic or the fear as a person with ADHD of being that bored. That I'm like, put me on wheels, like put me whatever. Just put me even that corner on an iPad because I cannot lie there for that long doing nothing.
Oh my
So
word. Oh my
that's
word.
my
Oh,
plan.
well, thanks for sharing about that. That is intense.
Anytime.
And you shared about it on your page, and then I'm like, what? Tell me more. So thank you for going through that. And look at you,
Anytime.
like still being like, okay, well, I'm gonna do game night.
I'm like, wow, what a vibe that I'm setting for game night.
I know, I love it though.
But it's real shit. People don't follow our faces for, like fluffy content. It's like real, like advocacy work and stuff that we're going through to a certain extent. And again, it shows how like, open, willing you are to share,
Yeah.
care about the community. So
Yeah. I think that's what like attracts people to certain creators because there's authenticity.
mhm,
And and it's not downing anybody that is doing the work to get information about ERP, ICBT, ACT, medication, any of that, cognitive therapy, any of that. Like, it's not to say that that doesn't matter, but I think sometimes people just put like a nice finish on it and they're like, okay. Ha. And then there's like and again, that makes it sound like I'm making fun of them. But all of that is just to say, like, when people see you being authentic and transparent and they have no choice but to live in the rawness of their day in and day out, whether it's
mhm,
them that has OCD, their person that they love has OCD, like, I think people go, that. I want to connect with that. I want to connect with
yeah,
you because you're a real person and that matters. So it is I think it's a huge vibe. I also think it speaks to a lot of, like, live your life.
yeah.
Live your life. You don't have to stop living your life just because you're having brain surgery, and that sounds like that should be a joke, but
Like,
for
I
anybody
mean, we
joining.
said a little bit, but be about that. So I think it's also like I think about going through treatments, and I mean, when I went through treatment at the residential level, by no means did like life stop. Like
Right.
some really horrible things happened in the world, like in my personal world while I was in treatment. And I think sometimes we don't talk about that in and of itself. That like, and treatment isn't this like isolated experience. Like all these other things matter and they impact it. And how do you move through treating your OCD while also navigating life stressors, some of which are completely out of our control, right?
Right.
Um, yeah,
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wish so badly that you weren't having to go through it, but I think it's such an incredible, powerful testimony to how you can, within bounds, live your life, right? You're probably not gonna go whitewater rafting or, jump in a mosh pit
mm,
anytime soon, but
mm-mm,
maybe after the Wally version of you could. We could maybe
right.
sneak it into, like, an Eras tour. I don't know if you're a
Mm,
Swiftie. Are you a Swiftie?
absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I wanted to say that, and I was gonna, like, be like, "'Cause it's okay if you're not," but no.
It's not okay.
It's not
Right.
okay. It's not okay. Oh, yeah,
Mm.
this is a good question. There's a question in the chat. Are you gonna be under or are you gonna be
Oh, no. I'm going to be under. Yeah, no.
yeah.
I looked into, I think it only matters to a healthy degree. I like this surgery and other surgeries like this, and there are some in which you need to be awake for a portion of it for them to like test,
Your
like,
responses.
can you
Yeah.
see, can you move these things? But I'm going to be out. So I had endoscopy done yesterday, which I don't know if anyone's ever had that done. Where
Um, so many as a celiac, I just have to say. Yes. Yes,
yeah,
so you got a little preview.
exactly. I mean, yeah, I was joking all the way until the second I passed out about like, I was like, don't let me wake up during this. That's like my worst case scenario. And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
But I also was like a nice tease or like a light exposure of like, okay, I'm going under anesthesia. I think this because there's no control, but it's a lighter exposure.
Yeah.
It's,
A little funny question. You can tell have been under my share of general anesthesia, but did it burn when they put in the anesthesia to make you go to sleep?
The last time I got an endoscopy, again, I'm a frequent flyer.
Me too. Me too.
But yeah, 4 years ago it did. I freaked out. It was like 2 months before I went to residential for OCD and health anxiety, and I was freaking out. I was like, take it out, try again. But this time I didn't notice. I'm like, well, maybe it's because I wasn't hyper aware per se, but
Yeah.
not this time. And I woke up so rested. The first thing I said, because you can't eat beforehand, I was like barely conscious. And I was like, okay, can I go get a nice no latte now? And I meant it. I wasn't, that was my true.
And I remember when you were on the show, you were talking about how restrictive eating got because of OCD. So I'm glad you weren't latte free at that time, because I remember that being an exposure in residential where they're like at Starbucks and you're like, for
Losing
that.
my mind on the street.
Yeah. Well, and obsessively compulsive memes ask the real question. If they take part of your brain, do you get a quarter under your pillow? I mean, I think, is it like the brain fairy in that?
I wish. I think instead I'm going to get a whopping copay because that's the way the healthcare system works. But if I even just got one quarter towards that, that would be nice. But at least you lose the deductible.
I know. I'm like, what else?
It is
What else you want to get done? Have another endoscopy.
right? Why not? It's on the house.
Here is my endoscopy story. The first time I remember it. So I'm a strawberry blonde. I have red hair, and theoretically, we need more anesthesia. We need more of any kind of pain, like Novocaine, any kind of pain medication or whatever. So I went in for the endoscopy, which anybody who's done the prep, I mean, shit happens. It sucks. It sucks. It totally sucks. But they wheel you back into like a walk-in freezer, and they're like, yeah, we're going to do this. You're like, it was cold, actually. Yeah, it's cold back there. And they're going to put in this like anesthesia, whatever. The anesthesiologist was a whole vibe. He came in and he was like, I'm the one you're going to like to see. And I'm like, okay. And so he felt really proud of himself. But as he put it in, it burned like a mother. Yeah. And immediately I was awake on the other side of it because you don't remember any of that business, right? So I think my husband said something to the effect that I woke up and I was like, that motherfucking hurt. And he was like, so she's awake. But I had like a little bit of like amnesia. Sometimes you have a little bit of like temporary, you can't remember what you said or didn't say. And so I came to, and then I was like, so how long have you been here? And he's like, girl, you've been chatting and it's been spicy while you've been awake. You didn't like that experience. I'm like, would you? But yeah. It's not fun. It's not exciting. Next time I had to, because again, frequent flyer, I should have a punch card for endoscopies. But I was like, they were getting ready to put me down. It sounds like I'm like a dog going down for the rest. Okay, I survived, as folks can tell. But when they went to put me down, first, again, I should not say it that way. Oh, well. The guy, whoever the main beef guy is, he was looking over like my stuff and we were waiting for the anesthesiologist person to come. And he was like looking at my file and he was like, why are you even here? This is nothing. This is pointless. And I was like, look, dude, I didn't get dressed up for nothing here. Thanks for telling me it was completely pointless because this is not my favorite way to spend an evening. And so then I went under and I expected it to hurt. And that time it didn't. I don't know. So maybe they have something they can add to it that makes it less like fire burning through your veins. I don't know. But
hard to say. Yeah, I remember that feeling vividly the first time, or the last time of my many, right? As we work towards getting our miles turned off.
Yes. The thing is, my colon's never going to surprise me. I'm not going to be like, what? Because there's just too much. There's too much observation going on. There's a whole lot of talk about shit, basically. Have you ever gone under general anesthesia medicine?
So I don't know if I can fully answer the question. We talked a little bit when I was on the slide, but like I get my told of the trials because as an anxious human being, they were afraid. I had like bad gag reflex and my anxiety, so I couldn't get a regular dentist. They're like, if you choke on a tooth, you'll die. So you have to go to a special doctor to make sure if you and they gave me laughing gas. I think what Allie's worst case scenario did happen. We did the laughing gas first. And then I think they put me under. And then I vaguely remember halfway, like my eyes were open, like so many people were above me. And they were when someone was like, awake. And then I was passed out again. I didn't know if they said like she's awake or what, but it was awake, passed out again.
Yeah.
So nothing hurt, but I'm like, which adds to your theory of the red hair stay also naturally.
Yes.
But the rest of it,
Yes.
might after let you strawberry blonde.
Yeah. I mean, frankly, and I say this like anytime, especially I'm taking my children, they get very anxious about it. And our dentist is so great with neurodivergent folks. And it's such like, thank God. But why do the dentist tools, whether you need to be put under or not, look like torture chambers from the 1800s? You like walk in and they're like, here's a seat and all this stuff. But then they like pull out the syringe that you're like, you're going to like totally murder me with this, aren't you?
Right.
Yeah.
And then they give you their like driver sunglasses that like are round. I'm like, this is at my face. And it was really fun.
Yes.
Like you look great.
And you're like,
Yes. And I remember they ask you questions and your mouth sets and like you're answering. They're like, what? And I'm like, well, maybe take a tool.
Or the vice versa. They could understand what you're saying. And I'm like, who are you superhumans? I can't hear my husband across the room sometimes. And you're like, oh, and they're like, I agree. But I didn't think it was that big of a deal. And you're like, what are we talking? I don't even know anymore. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I also think, and again, so appreciative of dental hygienists and dentists and all of the people. I think it's so gross. The last thing I would want to do is stare inside someone's mouth. I would just be like, my gag reflex would just be like, I want to see what's in there. Some of that stuff's been in there for a while. And just talking about it like that makes me not great. Yeah, I don't love that.
I've done it for the game we're going to play, so I'll give a free one. I've never had any cavities. I should have done that one as one of my. What's it like to be
what's it like to be superhuman?
Oh, it's 100% genetics. I'm not going to lie. Like my husband does way more dental hygiene than I do. And there's like flossing and like all like, and I'm like, I just brush my teeth twice a day and I'm good.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, to be honest, I've only ever had one, and it wasn't until I was in my 30s, which I believe neither of you are in your 30s. So grandma over here. 26. Love that for
Get stripped off my parents' insurance.
I had been off my parents' insurance for most of your life. But that's okay. That's okay. It was complicated back then. Actually, when I was a kid, I don't think it was extended either yet. And so it wasn't as easy. But I've only had one cavity. But I am a wimp. I am an official wimp. Like when I found out I was pregnant with my first kiddo, I was like, there's nothing but death on the other side of this for me. Like, because I can't handle a paper cut. They were like, let's take your blood work. I'm like, can I get an epidural for that? And they're like, that's not how it works. Come to find, you don't want an epidural. Yeah, epidural's like a drill bit into your spine. So actually, we should prefer the venipuncture. Yes, I did learn that when I had like a panic attack and saw stars and had to excuse myself during the labor and delivery class because they brought out and they're like, so for people getting the epidural, and then I was like, and I'm like, why are these our choices?
Again, ignorance is bliss sometimes. Yep. It would have been better not to know.
Right. So. I lived in LA, and some people were like, I love to read birth stories because they're beautiful. And I'm like, I love to avoid birth stories because I don't want to hear how I'm going to die in the most painfully, what you would call beautiful, I would call just awful way. And so anyway, yeah, we lived in LA at the time though. And I told my husband, we could pay a dude on the corner to just like maybe knock me out, and then they could deliver the baby and just wake me up when it's done. And he was like, oh, and I'm like, and you think I'm kidding? So that's where there's something wrong here because I'm seriously considering that.
I'm gonna take that route now.
Well, ladies, one of the games we were gonna play, it's game night. So one of the games we were going to play, and Madison, I loved your little twist where you're like, ooh, we could do a twist round of this game.
Yeah, when I sent it, I'm like, I'm just going to do it in case.
Yes.
It's a very in case kind of girly.
I like it. And Alie, I did not prepare ahead for that, but I can. And so we're going to play 2 truths and a lie. And we have our first prepared round. So we'll start there. A little getting to know you for the community. And so we're going to do 2 truths and a lie. And yes, I think the non-presenters can collaborate and go, what we think and sniff the other person out. So we have 2 truths, 1 lie. We have to decide what it is. And fun fact, I play this with clients sometimes that are really afraid of saying something wrong because they have permission to lie. And even with that, it's like, so this yeah. Go for it.
The one thing I've not done yet, but I'm absolutely terrified to play with clients is Bean Boozle. I'm so scared. I'm going to get a metaphobia client and we have to play Bean Boozle and I'm going to throw up. But it'll be perfect because
what if you cheat because as the adult you could choose that and you give yourself regular jelly bellies? You could be like, hey, if it's a non-emet client, I can hang. But if it is an emet client and I think I'm going to trigger, I'll give them informed consent. But really, I give myself the cherries and the toasted marshmallows and all that. Do we think? Could work.
It could work. It could work.
It's so gross.
Is it really the experience of an ERP therapist? Is it really the experience if I don't live it,
I mean, if you vomit on an emet client, I don't know necessarily that would be the value-driven response you'd want. However, in the non-emet,
you know what? Someone's going to throw up on them at some point in their life, most likely anyway.
They've probably thrown up on themselves. But the brain doesn't stop. For anybody listening and going, what's emetophobia is a deathly fear. It's a phobic response of throwing up. And so all the things, it can look a lot like contamination. Sometimes it can commingle. It's like, hey, let's spoon OCD, but it's not. Yes, but they're not always both there. Okay, so 2 truths and a lie. Who wants to go first?
Okay, I can start.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 1, I have to write these things down. I do.
I'm thinking I should write it down now because I'm just going to fly with it. Go for it. Go for it.
Number 1, I dressed up as Shrek for a fundraiser pep rally at my middle school and we hit a new record for donations. Number 2, I dressed up as Napoleon Dynamite in elementary school for my student council campaign and did the dance in front of everyone.
Yes, you did.
And number 3, I dressed up as Dobby the Elf for a Harry Potter book release costume contest, and me and my family won.
So, I know a few things about your family from our chat, and I can't remember, but I guess we can make up the rules as we go. Do we get to ask clarifying questions, or do we just have to?
I feel like you do it for 2 seconds. Cheating.
Is it cheating? But we can choose cheating as the adults.
Okay, but you're going to be like, not for my round, though. For my round, you get to it.
No, I can bullshit on the spot, so I'm not afraid. But that's fine. That's fine. We can play up here. Okay, so Madison, what I'm thinking is she's not afraid of dressing up.
No.
There is a theme there.
So I remember the Shrek one for sure. The one I haven't, and I feel like so to be fair, and y'all might hate me for this, I've not seen any Harry Potter movies. So I feel like, I know you both are going to get, so sorry, friends. Y'all are going to hate me.
It's okay. You're still like T-Swift, right?
I don't hate her.
Okay.
I'm not like a hater. I'm not nothing like that. But I'm just it's okay.
That's all right. We don't.
You're a Swift acknowledger, but not. Yes, acknowledger.
And
I'm not a hater. Right. Yeah, right. Exactly. We're neutral. We're, in that
You're Potter neutral? Okay.
Yeah, we're neutral. But anyway, my point of saying that part is I've seen another costume of Alie's, and I know what Napoleon Dynamite looks like. So I think it might be that Dobby might be the other one. But the other thing that's throwing me off is the second half of the
the family winning everything and all that.
Right. But you could totally say the one Levi would win.
Right. So it could be the Shrek. It could be the Shrek one, and it's
you're a costume. Okay, I didn't see everybody else.
Yeah, because she knows that you were Shrek, but did you top the fundraising goal? Yes, I wasn't even going to that level.
Humble. I think it's a lie because I don't know if you could really be a winner, Alex. Take me on both. It's good for me. No.
Okay, did you say you don't know what Napoleon Dynamite looks like?
No, I didn't know
Okay.
what he looked like.
Okay.
So I'm saying I don't know what Dobby looks like.
Okay.
I think I know what Dobby looks like, but I don't like.
All
I've
right.
seen another costume she's done, and I'm like, I don't know who that is, but it looks good to me. But I don't.
I'm feeling a little better. I'm channeling my Napoleon. I just see, like, I think Shrek, I agree, costume or not, I feel like timeline that would have hit probably where you were at in school when one of the movies were out. Do we think they were popular? That was a good kids movie.
I love that movie.
So maybe it would be like award breaking on the fundraising goal. So I'm kind of inclined to be like, check on option number 1.
I think it might be Napoleon Dynamite.
You think so? It was, remind me what it was, Alie. You did the whole dance?
I did the dance, the Napoleon dance, friends, everyone. The other thing is she would do all of these things. That's the other problem.
Yes, she would do all of these things. That is the real problem.
That's why I stayed with a theme. There you go.
And then the family won all the money. Potter Fest, were they all, and you can't answer, but I'm just going to say it out loud anyway. Were you 100% Potter, right? Because I'm sitting there thinking, like, were you all dressed up as Potter?
No clarifying question. That face value. My family won the contest. I was Dobby the Elf.
Your sister.
But I think I don't know if there's her sister or her friend that was also with the Shrek theme. I know there was another person in there with the Shrek one. She was gonna, I would sneak it in there and she was gonna answer.
I'm going with it. You know what? I think, oh gosh, I don't know. I know your parents were hippies, right?
Well, the progressive Canadian.
I would just like to point out, she said no clarification, and I got one.
That's one that would not be fair.
It's specific. You're like, that wasn't about the story. They're just, okay. Oh. All right. I feel like you would do the dance. Was there anything after the dance?
I can't clarify.
Well, just a repeat of option number 2.
Winning was after the dance.
Oh, well, of course you would if you were Napoleon. You think it's Napoleon?
But apparently it's a lie by 1 because that would be perfect. No. So my point of saying that is because, like, that's the fun part of Two Truths and a Lie. You could say one part that's true, and then the other half is a lie. That's why I'm like,
she's letting us into the strategy when she's going, Alie, because we're gonna have to, like, it's gonna be like the licensing exam all over again. It's gonna be like, what is the best fit of the answer?
Oh, I hate that.
That was bad. That was bad. That's what Madison has to look forward to. But her brain was made for it, so she's good. Okay, fine. I will go with European me is voting 100% Potter, but I will go with Napoleon Dynamite as well because I want to say that not the whole family won, but then I'm like, but did they? Is that what she wants me to think? I'm with you, Madison. I'm with you. So we're voting number 2.
You think the lie is which one?
Napoleon. Yeah.
Well, I came with receipt.
I love it.
I was Napoleon Dynamite in 5th grade when I raised for student council vice president. The dance, which I still remember somehow to this day, and won. Damn. I also promised a vending machine or school dance that never happened. But for number 10 for the followers, that was my time in politics. That's receipts for number 1.
That is odd.
Now, for number 2, the other truth, we did win the Harry Potter costume contest. So I was right on this there on an Alie Dobby. My mother is Hedwig wearing a hockey mask. My sister was whatever that guy's cat is. My father was Hagrid, which I have another song.
So it was Shrek. It was Shrek.
That was crazy. Did the strategy that I said. That was a sneaky one because, yes, I did do my time at Shrek as a result for Halloween, not for a pep rally in middle school, so I stood out. But that was not opportunity code for me at the time.
You guys play a tough game. I'm like, I'm blue. And you're like, you see, the first part of it, accurate. But second part of it, not sure.
I didn't do that strategy. I just at face value. So all the parts, like,
the Potter was AI. I agree. The Potter's AI. Fake news.
Hold on. You can't make this up.
Yes.
You there I am again. You can't AI that. That is my parent brick wall that I post for every cool photo.
Oh my gosh.
And those feet, those slippers that I'm wearing, they nearly took me out. The tree was not going to let me. And that was a real potato sack, and I had sensory problems. I was so itchy. But you know what? No pain, no gain.
She's like, I get credit. If I'm in a potato sack, you give me credit. That was hard.
If I didn't win, yeah, you don't put a kid with ADHD accessory problems in a potato sack. But also, you have to do it. That's what he wore.
Note to self: don't put kids in the potato sack. I think that's good. Great. Yeah, that's good. That's good advice. All right, you got us on that. Do you want to go next, Madison? Now that we have insight into Madison's like break the word apart strategy,
we know you're frick. Well, I'll go easy, but now I kind of, you know what? No.
Don't.
We're not gonna.
You don't go easy on us. We're OCD warriors. We can take any of this, right? Come on,
we can
bring
break any loophole if we think long enough.
I know the places we will go. We will. Yes. Okay. Go for it, Madison.
I'm ready. Okay. 1, I love spicy food. 2.
Wait a minute. That's not a compound one.
Well, I said it wasn't.
I know. I know.
Okay.
She's like, it might be. Don't fall for it. Okay. I'm sorry, Madison.
2, I love musicals. And 3, I can lift 400 plus pounds with my body.
Oh my gosh.
That's specific.
That's very
400
specific.
plus humans need. That has to be true.
That is so true. Yeah, if you were like 400 pounds, we'd be like, that's big. You're like 400 plus. Check my CrossFit people and all that. Check my lifting. Yeah, I believe that.
Right.
I think you do love musicals.
I could have sworn that
I swear all the time.
But these Airtight Swifty, I'm like, can you be Taylor Swift neutral and not like musicals? I feel like they kind of go hand in hand.
I mean, how many musicals has Swift been in?
Well, no, it's just a vibe.
I know, but she's like country crossover.
Yeah.
She's an era. No, I get what you mean. We're just trying to make sense of you being a hater on Swift, or neutral, I mean.
Yeah, I forgot about Never See Harry Potter. I feel like theater kids, like, that's a rite of passage.
That's true. That's true. ERPM is making a really good point. You would have probably watched Harry Potter, all of them, if you were a musical fan.
Also, I never said I hate. Let's rephrase. We're not going to come at me and say that I'm a. See how these are like, they hear one, that might go for the jugular. And it wasn't even negative. They're like, yeah, it's there. And I'm like, no, I just, you know what? I listened to 22 when I was 22 regularly. Okay. You know, it was a vibe. I'm just not on all her concerts and have merch. She's on the radio. I'm not going to change it. It's not bad.
You're not going to change it? You're like, I won't change it. It's okay, Madison.
Because I know that, no, here's me. Like, see, concerts.
I know. It's like, why is to you? Because you hate musicals because of Harry Potter and hating Taylor Swift, the combo.
For Harry Potter, like, I was a little wimpy child. Like that.
Harry, he was like locked in a closet under the stairs. Come on.
I saw the snake scene in passing when they're like falling through like a thing of snakes. I don't know. And I'm like, no, I'm never, not for me. We're not doing it. Okay. But did you know the song from Father Puppet Pals when you were growing up? Maybe if I heard that. I can look it up. Oh, yes. Yes. I did know that. Well, I feel like the fact that she knows that song could be also indication that she likes music.
I feel like we had, I feel like there was some kind of musical where you and me were like, but what was it? Coming up or something? I don't know. I feel like there was.
I did dress that as the Good Witch with my friend.
Okay, she knows who the Good Witch is. I said Wicked.
Right, I didn't even know.
She said the Good Witch, which means she knows Wicked. Which she also dressed up. Would she dress up as Taylor Swift neutral? No. So I think she likes musical. It's definitely the spicy food.
Yeah, let's go with spicy. Right. I wouldn't have thought the Good Witch, like, that is a title. Yeah. Are we right? Is it spicy food that you
hated? You hate it?
I don't have. I guess they do have receipts. You would ask.
She told us she didn't have receipts, but here's her having receipts.
I guess I do. I can't show the video, but yes, I can lift over 400 pounds with my body. You guys got me right. I should have just said 400 pounds. I mean, that would have gone on me too, because I don't even know if that's physically possible. Like, I wouldn't know.
I was like, is that in grams or pounds? Oh, yeah, pounds. Okay. Like that.
I eat these for fun. Like, they're so good. They're like little, like, spicy challenge packets.
But
so I love spicy food. So
you're cracking me up. You're cracking me up.
So you don't love musicals? I do not. I feel like they get in the way of the story, specifically the singing aspect. Yes, like they get to that when I'm like want to hear the story, and then all of a sudden we're just breaking out into song. I'm like, that was a really good moment the characters were having. Why are we breaking out? It's just we were right. We were right on the money, and then we just got caught up in the moment. You cannot not have seen Harry Potter, feel neutral about Taylor Swift, and still be a theater kid. Why is ERP coming for me? Yes, that's exactly my vibe. Okay, to be fair, The Greatest Showman definitely will listen to the soundtrack all the time. But like, man,
The Greatest Showman is fantastic. But I don't even think of The Greatest Showman as like a regular musical, because I think of like probably like stage plays more. But you're right, it is a musical. So it didn't bother you when he was sitting there and he was jumping into song about
that was tolerable.
Yeah.
Another part of it though, Zac Efron was like my childhood crush. So like
Zac Efron, Zendaya, all the people that were in.
Wait, so you're saying, let me clarify. Yes. That you think High School Musical would have been better without the song?
That's right, because Zac Efron, if he was your boy, how does that work?
Maybe it's not musicals. Maybe it's like some of the movies with the transitions of the musicals. Like I guess the most recent one that's coming to mind, like I recently watched Long Blast. I'm like, no, we don't need to start the singing. We're having good conversation. It's like it's a musical too.
Okay, so. I don't know what to say, because we're buddies here, but I used to think that life should be a musical, and I would walk around randomly singing all the time. I'd be like talking and then be like, So
I do that too regularly, though it's more like not. Like,
oh yeah, I can have whole moods. It could be grunge, it could be emo.
I'll post the video later though. I'll post it on my story and be like, at Alie and Nicole. Here's my proof. Thank you. You're welcome.
Well, because we did demand receipts, and Madison, just a little backstage knowledge, folks. Madison was like, I don't have receipts.
I mean, most of my things, like so I did take some with receipts, because some of my other ones that I can do on, like I can do, they're like, no, you know what? I'm about to give it away. We're going to stop saying.
Oh my word. I love it. Okay. Just 1 second. Things I was going to do. Oh yeah. Okay. I remember them. Once upon a time, I made it through many, many rounds of American Idol. And there's that. And did not know how cuts would look on TV until watch parties happened. It was a whole thing.
Were you on TV? Were you shown?
I mean, I guess I can't clarify.
I was waiting for him. Like,
I was serious. It would be against the rules, even though I could clarify on any of these.
Are you a detective?
Am I?
No. So I would have many knowledge what I want to know too, but I thought myself about how many rounds we clock in.
I don't know. That's true. See, that might have given away. I might have like split it up. Like
I gotta hear what you say about
the other things. Okay. When I was young, I wrote fan fiction about NSYNC, the boy band, which was made up stories, and it was compelling because I am a little bit of a storyteller, and to the point that I got reached out by one of the teen magazines, and I can't remember whether it was Teen Vogue or YM, but they reached out and they were like, we want to like put in our magazine, back when they had like real paper magazines, we want to feature one of your fanfic stories about NSYNC in it. And if you do that, we'll send you some stickers. And I was like, I like stickers.
Stickers?
Yes, they were paying me in stickers. It was rough back then. So anyway, that's number 2.
Okay.
Number 3, I once received a letter from President Barack Obama about my academic excellence, congratulating me on my GPA and my academic achievements. So tell me which one's the lie, y'all.
That sounds like a very Barack move to me. I think I believe that.
That's so Barack of him. He would be like so affirming of academics. Too many
He
details.
would be cheering you on via letter. I love that. Yeah.
Yes, but if you notice ERP and me, I said too many details on all of them because I don't know how to tell a short story. So is it a game move or is it just me being verbose?
I've started crunching some numbers. You said that you have
Crunching numbers.
this long character. You've been alive longer than like double 26, right? Did you think about
You know what?
Saturn?
I am a tad bit younger than double 26. But I've been almost off of my parents' insurance as long as Madison has been alive, but not quite.
Okay.
How's that?
I'm worried.
Swirl with your numbers.
Fanfic, like,
Fanfic.
I feel like that was like a 2007 plot thing. Like, I don't know if that before.
You don't know if stories existed before.
No.
That's
You say stories. You said fanfic. That's
what
different.
fanfic is. Fanfic is stories. Fanfic is stories.
Online about instinct.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I feel like fanfic, like, I think of One Direction was more that era, not instinct.
I kind of feel like fanfic had moved on by the time One Direction went, but I can't comment on it because we're not commentating.
I just feel like that was Pink, I feel like, but I do
Pink had fanfic. Pink should have fanfic. She like flew from rings in the air. She was amazing.
They probably do. My thought process, though, I feel like if you've been on American Idol, like, and made many rounds, I feel like that would be something I would regularly say to somebody. You know,
you
like,
would drop that about me.
It like has like come up a little bit long because I've never heard you talk about a singing career, but she likes musicals. I'm like, and
so clearly a singing career. And I gave you a little tea about how I used to sing in words like life was a musical. Was it to mess with your mind?
And like, and how, wait, you want to clarify how old you were when you were in American Idol?
Would you like me to clarify, Alie? Would you like me to be a cheater pumpkin eater?
Perhaps. But I feel like American Idol, like, if this was like, whatever, like 20 years ago, somewhere between 10 and 20 years ago.
Show's been on a minute.
That was like when it was peak American Idol. And everyone
it would have been peak. Yeah, it would have been peak because I Am a Dinosaur. It would have been like in the beginning. There was Kelly Clarkson.
I started in 2002. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Wikipedia. Are you looking at Wikipedia?
You said we can't clarify. We didn't say anything about research. I mean,
whoa, ladies.
Instinct fanfic.
I did say fanfic. And I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed.
Instinct stories.
Instinct is timeless. Trolls band together, yo. They are timeless. There could still be NSYNC stories out there. They're eating hot wings.
You're not wrong.
I'm not wrong.
I agree. I agree. And what was the last one again?
What was the last one again? Oh, Barack.
Barack. I believed it.
Me and B. Academic excellence. He was like, you're amazing. And I was like, thanks, babe.
I do remember that like being a thing, but when Barack was put in office, I was in 5th grade.
Oh my gosh.
So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, 2000 well, he was elected 7-8, I think.
I won't say how old I was, but I could drink alcohol.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, would there still be school? Like,
would there still be school? I have a master's.
Okay.
I happen to be a therapist, but you know.
It's the instinct. I will die on that hill, but you did not write Instinct fanfic that was circling on the internet, and then they asked you, they were going to mail you stickers?
They did mail stickers according to the story.
So I will say to Alie, like, and again, I know it might have been a different time, but people before Wattpad, they would write on Stardoll, like, their story. Like, people would write.
Even in the past, there were, like, these pens and papers, and people would write these stories. But
you said it was
I didn't say I wrote it on pen and paper. I'm just saying writing stories has been going on for a while.
It's a very neat period of time, I feel like.
I think as within OCD, if we pay attention to the things, we notice them more, right? So I don't know, maybe y'all just aren't connoisseurs of the fiction of the fans.
I would never read. I'm dyslexic. I would never read it. I feel like, Tumblr and fanfiction, they were both at the same time, and that was like 2008. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of like somebody who dressed up in all three of her choices, and it was hard to choose.
Yeah, but the internet has not been around as long as stands out.
Oh,
and that
girlfriend, the internet has been around, just not very advanced.
Okay, like that's
She's like, but pre-internet.
No, but I remember that there was webkins that I was playing with and Penguin and stuff in like 2008. All right, I'm telling you, I'll go with Alie. We'll say instinct is the lie.
Is that your final answer? Since you phoned a friend, I will do it millionaire style.
Take me second guess. We'll go for it.
You want to embrace the uncertainty, roll the die, see
we'll
how
go
it
for
is?
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, I'd just like to say, y'all are wrong.
No. Tragic. Okay. Now, can we ask clarifying questions?
No, here's, okay, so I have some receipts. What I will say is, I can't remember whether it was YM or Teen Vogue, but they totally paid me in stickers, not Snickers. I think Snickers would have probably even been okay with me. And I didn't know at the time that I wrote an editorial for them. I helped them fill a page, and they gave me just a couple stickers. But I would like to show you, my fanfic was on angelfire.com. This may be pre-you.
Fire.
But I'm just going to show you. I was like, if there was a way for me to find this, it would be via Reddit. And I could not find my fan fiction, but I found someone that I vibed with because it might as well been mine. So I'm going to show you the receipt because it's on my computer. I'm going to try and zoom it around here to show you some Angel Fire specialness. But here we go. Tell me if you can see it. Can you see it?
That is. Wow. I'm not going to lie. I missed the NSYNC. I missed all that. Yeah, it wasn't for me.
NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and Britney Spears and all the things.
Britney was my time a little bit. Britney bitch, you know?
Yeah.
She's my time.
Yeah. Britney bitch I was a little older during the bitch years, but yeah, sometimes I run, sometimes I cry.
I was during the bitch year.
Yes.
See, now I'm fucked up, like, song that I sang as a child, like Lip Gloss. Keep singing that with my little backpack on my way home from school and Lollipop and Candyman. I'm like, wow. Peacock by Katy Perry. Wow. I'm just like vibing, not knowing what the fuck I'm singing. I'm like, yeah.
That's right. Did you know, fun fact, that Katy Perry has OCD?
Does she? I didn't know that.
Allegedly, says the internet. You know, she's been around longer than the internet, apparently. But yeah. Okay, so you got that one wrong. And I will, the way she lies, she could be a serial killer. You are cracking me up.
I kind of, Alie, you know what? We should have known that it's probably actually the Obama one because the fact that she didn't remember the third. She's like, what did I say? You're going to remember your truth.
Of course, I could say that to throw you off, though.
Sure. Now that's way too conniving.
Just like I did around maybe this magazine or that. And yeah, stickers. See, I use that same kind of vibe, but yeah. So you actually think as a backup, it was Obama? Obama was the lie?
I don't know. I think I still am like the idols with the first thought that I had when you were asking it. I feel like you would have said how many rounds, not just many.
Yeah. That's cute. That's cute that you would have felt that need for extended clarification. I love that. Yeah. Okay, you guys ready? I'll give you a picture receipt. Again, I'm gonna have to turn the camera to see. Let me see. I wish I could enlarge it. It's an old picture that I had to go find, but I was gonna find because of course I was like, let's bring receipts.
Right, of course.
Yeah, of course. I can't really make it larger. I'm gonna show you and you can tell me what you think. Let me see. Can you see it?
No. A little lower. So that.
Right. That's right.
And
life was a musical, bitches.
This is a humble queen, right? We were like, no, you were the man.
I'm not that smart, and I was done with school. You guys were close there, but I was like, I had a master's degree. No. My nephew actually got, apparently any president, by the way, I think, if you write into them and be like, hey, Can you guys?
Okay, to be fair, another thing, I did look up like excellent letter. You did. He said the correct words. Did you look up the? Okay.
No, I
Wow, that
didn't.
was
I
good of you.
didn't look it up. I just pulled from my recollection because my nephew got, I
Right,
think,
right.
a letter from Obama, but I do know that they like to reinforce the intelligence things in children. So I was like, yeah, yeah. And I'm flattered, y'all, that you think Obama was like, girl, you are smart. And I'm like, thanks. So appreciate
Yeah.
that.
I didn't think twice. I was like, of course he was.
I know. When I went through them, you're like, obviously not the lie, that one. And I was like, haha, I'll be
Yeah.
right where I want you. I'll be right where you want.
So now we can clarify. How many rounds of American Idol did you go through?
Oh, I probably went through like 8. So I'll explain. The year was 2007. Actually, I think that
That
was
makes
the
sense.
year. I think it was like season 7. And often they would do like these mass like auditions at bigger
I
cities
remember.
around the country. And so LA is a bigger city, but they actually weren't in LA that year. They were in San Diego. And so I had some friends that really wanted to be on American Idol. And they were like, hey, you like to sing? You should come down to San Diego. We're going to go audition for American Idol. And I was like, I had my first job out of grad school. And I was like, oh, it has to work. And I don't know if it's worth the personal day. And they're like, take off, go. And so I was like, fine, I'll go. So I went down. One of my best friends from college was doing travel nursing down there. So we went and hung out and drank margaritas. I'm like, this was worth it. And then we went. There were like, I don't know how many people, but the stadium they have, what is the football team down there? I want to say the Giants. I don't know.
Oh,
Even know.
wow.
They have some stadium down there. Literally like half the stadium was full of people wanting to audition. And it was a whole vibe and it took forever and it was so freaking hot. And so they had like rows of tents and you would go up and they would have you like in groups of 4 and they'd be like, step forward. They'd have you sing for like maybe 12 seconds. And then they'd be like, next, next, next.
Wow.
And generally it would be like, all y'all, bye. And so I happened to have a crowd pleaser right in front of me that was like getting some energy going in the crowd because at that time we were like delirious and heat stroke. And so I was just entertained that I was there with the crowd pleaser because it was like, hey, hey, and they were trying to get him to shut up because they couldn't hear the audition, whatever. So we get over there and we stand in this line and I'm actually in the line with one of the 4 with the crowd pleaser. And I decided the morning that I was there, even what song I would sing. And I like soulful sounding music. So I'm like, of course, I'm going to sing Toni Braxton. I'm gonna be like, Break Your Heart. I'm gonna go out there. And I think they saw me as like a therapist. I had a total therapist look because that was just the whole scene. But I was singing Toni Braxton, and I don't know if it just baffled them or what, but they were like, you know what? You made it. And so by making it, it meant I had to go sign a contract that was like 8,000 pages long. And I'm like, OCD, risk averse. Like, can I check this in my lawyer? P.S. I don't want. And so I go and I'm reading through it. And it's like, sign away your life, sign away your life, sign away your life. There were weird things in there, like the Oscar Mayer Wiener van is outside. Whatever you do, do not sing for the Oscar Mayer Wiener van. And I'm like, I never thought I'd be signing that in a contract. But it's because Oscar Mayer would be like, if we caught the winner, you don't know who's going to be the winner on the way out, and they sang the Oscar Mayer theme song, then they're going to get that like without having to pay for it. So I was like, oh my gosh. But I do remember being sassy and like completely dumbfounded that somehow I made it through. Like out of thousands, like 20,000 people, I was like one of like 200 that made it through. And they were like, if you have a modeling contract, you'll have to stop that. And I was like, uh-oh, I said to them, I was like, I was just gonna sign one. And they were like,
for America's Next Top Model. Right.
That was my next audition, was just gonna hit them up on my personal day. And they were like, well, don't. And I'm like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm flattered that you think maybe I could be signing a modeling contract after this, but okay. So anyway, it was a very weird experience. I had to go back down because the host city was in San Diego. I had to go back down multiple times for many, many rounds. And I made it all the way to Paula, Randy, and Simon. I did. And I met Ryan Seacrest. He comes up to like here on me. He's a short man. He wore platform shoes. And I wasn't even wearing like big old heels, and he was like so little. But yeah, I went through many, many rounds. I ended up not making it to Hollywood, but I sang in front of them. They fought with each other, and they're like, "Yo, dog, she's a therapist. She can help you." And I'm like, I'm not on duty. So it was a whole vibe. So yes,
What did Simon say? I want to. Yeah. Good question.
gosh, I don't even remember. They have their whole, because they had to play characters. I remember that Paula Abdul was like all hair. She was just kind of like a bee's nest, like Marge Simpson, like hair, but it looked better than that. And I was like, oh my gosh, there is like so much Aquanet or something happening here. And it took a really long time. We got down there. I learned sneaky behind the scenes shit that they do to try and trip people up and make them look like complete fools. So at the time,
but not you, right? Because you're the therapist.
not me, because I'm good at lying and a therapist, clearly, yeah, because of that. But they had us sing the Gwen Stefani song, had just come out.
Sweet Escape?
Yes. Had just come out.
Iconic.
It's iconic, but it had just come out. And so they're like, everybody has whatever songs they're singing, and you have to sing Gwen Stefani's Sweet Escape, right? And people were like, I don't know, because literally it just came out, and the words went up, right? It was like super fast.
Of course.
So I was like, yeah, that's not going to go well for me. And I also
realistic standards. It took me years to get the sour milk.
Yes. Yes.
That was a commitment.
Yes. Something with an elevator, I think. I don't know. Like, it's all in there. Right? That's like all I remember. I did like Gwen Stefani, but it was just like, yeah, I love this song. I have no idea what any of the words are yet. And this was like back in the day where the internet was baby enough that you were like, I need to look up, or maybe if I have the CD, it has the words in it, and I can read them. Real
you
fancy.
You got to pay like 99 cents to buy that on iTunes to even listen to it, right?
Right. To put it on my shuffle that looked like a USB drive, but it was a shuffle. Yes. Back then.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I had that too.
Yes.
We both had that too.
It was good. It was great for a run. And what was so funny too is I think like Coke was the product placement for that. And so I learned, because they follow you around with cameras everywhere, whether you want them on you or not, because they're trying to catch. They just take like, of every round too, of every single round, you had to wear like the same clothes back and all that. And so I remember I was like, if I get a Pepsi and I walk around with it like this, they can't use the footage because they're Coke.
That's fancy. Was that wasn't in the contract either?
No, not that I know of that I had to sign. Yeah. But like by the time we got the final round, there were very few people. And then it makes it look like a lot more people are singing for them. And they would see like 3 people sing, and then they'd be like, oh, I need a break. And then I was like, oh my gosh, it was like an 8 or 10 hour day. So yeah, totally did that. And that was a whole experience, and never heard anything from Barack. Where's the love?
That's a shame.
I know.
Yeah. You just needed to be in school a little bit longer. And I'm sure you would have gotten your letter. Very Harry Potter style, like just Barack Obama. Yeah. Shooting letters into your home telling you you're fantastic.
Yes.
So, that's my dream.
You're like, yeah, you should have just learned more.
More PhD.
Where's my PhD? It's in life. It's in life.
We have a PhD in our office. It's a pretty happy dog. He's great. We love the best kind of PhD. Really is.
Happy dog. Oh, well, then I guess I do have one. Very happy dog. Yeah. So there's the story time for you. And I wish I still had my fanfic. My brother, true story too. My siblings were older. I was the baby in the family, and they came home once. And they got on my dad's computer, which was like the only computer we had. We all like would flock to it if we're doing anything. And I wrote my fan fiction on the computer to post it because it just, it made the most sense. And so my brother sees this file that is very curiously named and is like, I have to find out more. And he goes in it. And at the time, I had just been through driver's ed and learned how to do a 3-point turn. So I do remember him being like, my siblings would call me Nikki. And they would be like, Nikki, did you have a car chase with the members of NSYNC? They had a surprising number of 3-point turns.
Right where we know, okay?
Yes. And I was like, 3-point turns can be tricky. So if you had to do one in the middle of a car chase, you can imagine. that brought some
Right.
drama. But yeah, I mean, but it was good enough that YM or Vogue or whatever was like, "Hey, I'll give you some stickers for that." That's pretty much the warning of
Stickers.
don't take candy from strangers, and Vogue is like, "You want a
Right.
sticker?" And I'm like, "Please, I do. I want
I feel like at this point, like now these years, like maybe like now they've created some more like child labor laws of like, no, since there's more than stickers for this
I
hard
know.
work, right? People deserve and a sweatshirt.
Yes, yes,
And a
and a
bill.
mention. I don't even know if they cited me. I was like, "Whatever, I don't care. I got stickers."
We
It's
need to
such
find this. I might need to
eBay.
just deep dive and find this piece of art somewhere
Yes.
on the internet.
And
I
then
mean
you could put it on like, a billboard
Yeah.
and then hold it up for Nicole. I
Perfect.
a billboard
Done.
would be grand, and I'm here for it. Okay, so Madison, you had an idea to do one also for compulsions where we
Yeah.
were gonna do it like OCD style. And I don't know if did you come up with them, Alie? I have to think of them, but I can think of
So, truth, truths, and a lie of compulsions we've done.
Yeah.
Mhm.
which I feel like is such a good one because
So much content.
right. That and then like all of them sound wild. So that's why it's like how do you know?
How do you pick? Right. Okay.
So many options.
I gotta okay. If somebody else goes first, I will come up with mine. Well,
I'm gonna
we
write
do
mine
it.
down again.
Yeah, I gotta write
I
these
can
down.
first, Beth.
I'm like,
I
these
just-
have complex rituals and layers, so I've gotta
That's right.
Yes. Yeah.
So, one, I convinced the doctor to get me an emergency MRI.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Two, I would ask strangers
Mhm.
if they heard the same sound that I did. And three, I used to send people memes to see if they would reply to make sure they weren't mad at me.
Mm.
Yeah.
All very believable.
Try to remember your content, what you talked about.
Who hasn't had an emergency MRI?
Suppose there's yeah, but like for us, like of course you're convinced enough for just doing that.
I'm like, I have my brain scans right here. Who wants to see them? Yes. I've got that on DVD. I do, actually. Mhm.
You would ask strangers if they heard a noise. I have so many clarifying questions, but
I
We
mean,
could get all the clarifying questions after.
somebody was like very anti-clarifying questions, and I just want to say has really
It's-
taken a journey here.
I am deep regret. Deep regret.
Hmm.
I'm waiting for ERP and me's opinion if they're still here.
ERP and me is hilarious, and so if you
So
are
for
still
real.
here, I do kind of wonder what ERP and me was half right, half wrong on
Yeah.
on it because some of them they were like
No, they were
clearly,
2 out of 3.
yeah, yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna say the meme.
I was gonna say noise. You're gonna say meme?
So
Wait a minute. When was the third one again? Because how long ago? I need timeline understanding. Because memes.
Wait, what do you mean?
When just reread the third one if you would, please. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna.
I used to send people memes to see if they would reply to make sure they weren't mad at me.
well,
Used to, meaning she doesn't anymore.
Well, I don't do any of these compulsions anymore. But to be fair,
You're like, to
Mm.
be fair, that's kind of the goal. Oh,
true.
I thought I could keep a couple. Okay, just kidding.
no, I'll switch.
Yeah, you think it's 2?
Yeah, I'll switch to that.
I'm glad that I so confidently casted that you would be coming to my number. Okay. Yes, 2. We say 2.
So I would ask if strangers heard the same noise that I did. That one. So I have sent people memes.
Mhm.
I have asked strangers about sound.
I was like, depersonalization. I bet she did.
And I convinced the doctor to get me an MRI. That was like not an emergency. I asked her, I tried so hard for next day. And they're like, absolutely not. You don't need it. And I'm not going to give somebody's slot away when you just had an MRI 2 years ago.
So that
What in a
sounds
month.
that sounds familiar. You're like, not my first time. but so it was basically one, but not because one wasn't an emergency. You
Correct.
sneaky little sneak. You
Mhm.
sneak.
Right.
That's
I'm like, you're not going to tell me that you've never convinced a doctor to give you an MRI.
I know, because that shit's
No,
easy.
I have, but no, in person,
Right.
they wouldn't. I have not done. I've tried twice, 2 separate occasions, and neither doctor was. They're like, your chart says high at the time. The first time, like, your chart says high anxiety. No, saying no, we're not doing it.
They're like,
You
so we
literally-
actually have you flagged as an automatic no. Yeet.
They're
yeet.
like, we know your services. We know why you're here. No,
No matter what she says, no same day or MRI.
No. And then every time I was like,
Audacity.
you're gonna be hurt when I die tomorrow.
Of course.
Oh, yeah. You're like, liability language. I can speak it. This is you. Can
I'm
you
like,
sleep
write
tonight?
it in the note that I said I want it tomorrow and said. So yeah.
They're like, just another day at work. How about you, Alie? Because I'm still thinking of my compulsions.
Yeah. I'm just writing down
Look
my
at you.
last one.
You guys were on top of it.
I'm like, I just keep thinking about real ones. I'm like,
Well, you get 2 real ones.
I know, but then it stumble with a fake one I haven't done. I'm like,
No, you're like, I've kind of run the gamut, but you can change one word. It wasn't an emergency MRI.
so sneaky.
Sneaky.
I did also post this basically today on TikTok. Not like these ones, but I had to like think of other ones because I did the whole like say the weird thing, but I didn't one on here and one on TikTok. And I'm like, okay, let me tell you about fucked up things my OCD has made me do. Ready? Go.
I mean, that could be quite a conversation. We could for sure.
Oh yeah. Again, the amount of people and for me, I don't know about y'all, but for my compulsive OCD, I didn't give two shits about what people think of me in that moment in particular.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh, right.
So like when I just be like, hey, do you hear that buzzing noise? They would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, no, for real. Like, can you answer the question?
Yeah. Yep. You're not really like thinking. You're just responding.
Yeah.
You're like in crisis mode when you're doing that. So
I think about that often. And the second half I think about is that like things I usually was so terrified of, like I care about at all. Like walking from my car to my apartment, didn't care. Usually very afraid of like getting napped. I don't like love, I don't love them. I would do rock climbing, no problem. Like there's just no.
Are you neutral
no
on heights? Are you Taylor Swift neutral on heights?
No, there's slight fear. Like I'm not a huge fan, but it's like when I was in an episode, everything else that I usually would be afraid of is out the window. Doesn't like my normal brain afraid fear things out the window.
Yeah, fair. I relate. Hashtag relate. Yeah.
I think I got mine down. Okay. Number 1. I scheduled a consult with the Mayo Clinic a few weeks before going to OCD residential. Number 2, I had a heart monitor that I was convinced wasn't recording and sent over 10 messages on my chart to my doctor. Number 3, I went into the ER because I got water up my nose while in the bathtub and thought I was dry drowning.
See, I'm going to use a little bit of Allie's logic here because I said 400 plus. And then she said 10 plus. Maybe she would have been more.
And around the house stuff. I mean, I could see making sure they got that.
The connection, you know?
I track your logic, Madison.
Also, same. So.
And you're like, and I did that.
I'm like, I don't see a light. There's not. The one I had when I was a kid was attached to something that beeped. This doesn't make it's not real. It doesn't work. So I feel that. I mean, I could definitely see like why wouldn't you you didn't do it. Maybe you did some treatment, but you didn't do like a whole lot of treatment yet. So why would you feel compelled to not make the appointment?
I mean, I think she could be out of treatment and make the appointment.
True.
Maybe that's the lie though, because she did it after. Okay. Remind me. Reread the third one again for me, please.
The first one.
The third.
For the third, I went into the ER because I got water up my nose while in the bathtub and thought I was dry drowning.
The infamous dry drown. It is really unfortunate that
exists. I do think, again, I could be wrong here. I do think Alie likes that. I remember correctly. So that could make sense.
Did you say she likes to?
Bath.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
bath. That makes it dead. It's like, I think I'm pretty sure she doesn't.
No, maybe after treatment, but not before.
I'm gonna guess
Um,
no to treatment. Might have been the call to the Mayo Clinic, in fact. I was like, dead? Am I hearing correctly?
clearly wants it.
Which is why we would not have compulsions at all, because you'd be like, this is gonna kill me, and you're gonna be like,
Right?
that fits.
Yes. I don't know, Nicole. Maybe you're on to something.
I mean, dry drowning
Or
is...
even during.
Yeah.
Even during.
Yeah,
You're like, okay, once I'm out of here,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
I go right to the clinic.
They had their phones in residential. They did. She could have called Mayo from there. Although that probably would have not made her like the perfect ERP student there. If they're like, oh, so how did you do today? I called Mayo Clinic. And they're like, I'm still working on it. I don't know. I'm gonna talk myself out of it or into it no matter which one I pick. So I think I'm just gonna go with one, and I'm gonna say it's because the timeline's different and she's trying to be sneaky.
I'll go with you too. I feel that. I'm
Okay.
going to say that.
All right, sneaky. What is it?
so. I did call the Mayo Clinic weeks before going to OCD residential, and I was like, well, either, and I was just like you said, I was like, I had just started outpatient ERP like within that month. Like I'd only done like 2 or 3 sessions, and that's where I was like, wait, you need to go to res. And so I was like, well, either avoid the Mayo Clinic or residential.
Uh-huh. You're like, so the Hop House had an opening.
That one came, whichever one came first.
Right.
Right.
That one had an opening.
You're like, I'll take either. Mayo
Either
Clinic.
or, whoever can get me in faster.
Right.
And then I also did go to the ER because I got water up my nose while taking a bath and was convinced I was dry drowning.
Your logic was right.
I
So
knew that there was some dry. I mean, that just was too perfect. Like, that was made for OCD freakouts.
yeah,
It was.
Yeah.
It's like, but what if I'm dry drowning from just some water up the nose? You weren't like
Right.
submerged for a minute.
so like you said, like, oh yeah, it's the intimate dry drowning. Like I promise you, the average person has no idea what we're talking
They're
about.
like,
You're
you can
"I
dry
don't
drown.
know."
I feel like I know a lot of illnesses, and that
Yes,
one I never thought. I'd never
You've
known
never
that.
known that? See, I had that one because my children in the bath, like one of them, the bath went.
Well, it wasn't so done. I mean, I read it, but like it basically only happened to children. But here I was,
Right.
and I was like dry drowning.
Right. But you see how when I like do see that dry drowning happens to children, I'm like, what if my child dry drowned? And they're like, yep, that could happen. I was like, oh,
Right.
yeah.
And I got myself in. They're like, let me get this straight. You were taking a bath. I'm like, yes. And so I did have a heart monitor also just before going to OCD residential treatments, but I wasn't convinced. I'm shocked. I did that. No, I think blasting, no beeping. But I didn't cross my mind at the time that it wasn't recording. But I was convinced that's the wrapping or whatever my skin where I was allergic to that. And I was, but didn't send an abnormally large amount of my text messages, which is pretty king for me in my very unhinged days. So I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, too, the brain would be like, and that reading was the only one that could have helped you.
Right, of course.
So, but thankfully, you're a fan of death. So it's all good.
I'm a big fan.
You like it. You're not neutral. No aversion. No neutral. It's not like it's Taylor Swift, which for anybody joining, Alie and I love.
And I don't hate.
And she doesn't hate. Right. Yeah.
A good guess.
That was very good. Very good.
What are your 2 truths and a lie?
Okay. My first one is I once got my whole family of in-laws that were around to drive downtown for lunch. And so that I didn't have to drive home because obviously I could have probably maybe had an accident.
Right.
Right. So that was possible.
Yeah.
So it was really a safety concern, right? I just, yeah.
I can get there.
Yeah. Also, number 2, once I called poison control.
Right.
Because I accidentally served my 4-month-old water, 2 ounces and
Right.
pretty sure that that was a toxic H2O.
Like, gas goes right. Same dry drowning flavor. Okay. Yes.
Nicole, you didn't have the test strip? Are you kidding me?
I was in LA, so you don't drink the water out of the tap. That stuff's bad.
That's poisoned. Yeah. But
I'm
Well,
lucky.
y'all live in Chicago. It's tap water.
I was gonna say though that I'm glad that the water didn't go up the nose because it could have been tried down
double
as
whammy.
well.
Yeah,
That's called poison control.
Poison control's gonna be like, you maniac, take him to the.
Like, my child is dry drowning with poison. Like, great. Double whammy. Delightful.
How did you have children, man?
Oh, I wonder what percentage of calls to the poison control number are people with OCD. That's a great question.
That's true.
Oh, that's so funny.
True.
Okay.
My third one, because of poison control, fun fact, that I once, very upset, and in that vein of how did I have children, told my husband that we did not deserve to have children after our dog ate prescription medicine twice, 2 different emergency incidents in a day, and we called poison control, and I was like, we should not reproduce. We are not safe people. So
Do you have them as a contact in your phone? Poison control. I don't think I've ever pulled them.
I
No.
don't either.
I did not, but there's this thing called the internet, and it started after fan fiction that it's available. You can Google it.
Delightful.
Oh.
You could find NSYNC, Fantastic, and poison control numbers. What a beautiful place.
I
Yeah.
just used to text the number questions and they would get back.
You can text poison control.
That
No,
is-
not poison.
I was gonna say that is not helpful because
No. They're
we are giving
you know
people.
what I didn't know that Alie posted a while ago. WebMD
Oh,
would
no.
put your symptoms in. I never knew that was a
symptom
thing. I
You
never
didn't
No symptom checker. That's
No.
like half of my husband and I's dating life was symptom checker.
It's shocking. That's very shocking.
Yeah,
I'm
don't
so
do it.
sorry that it's like almost the
Oh,
tree
I
of
didn't look it
knowledge
up.
in the Bible. Like, I'm so sorry that I exposed you to that. You didn't need to know.
It was good timing though, because we were past it. We're good. But health has been my life. Like, that's the one theme that has always stuck around my whole entire life.
Health.
So
Yeah.
that was like, how have I never seen?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. How did you never see it?
I rate myself on WebMD symptom checker just every day.
I was good about not using it too much. But my husband was like literally dying of cancer almost every other month. And I was like, you know what? For you, I think this isn't a good look. So we don't need to symptom check anymore. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
For me,
No.
it used to very much be like, I need very specific. So it'd be like,
Yeah.
like, can you get a rash on a Tuesday in 53-degree weather in your house? Wait, like very Reddit at the end.
That's a very Yahoo Answers kind of vibe, which I also love.
I used to be so talented. I was like saving the world. I was like, you're thinking of cutting? It's not the same thing as suicide, but let's talk about self-harm behaviors.
Yahoo Answers.
Yahoo
You're like a
Answers.
crisis therapist.
Meanwhile, like the next comment is like, ate my dick. And I'm like, that's not appropriate. And that wasn't what their question was. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So back to the question
Back
and
to
or the
questions.
facts and lies.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to say off the bat, I know Nicole has a driving fear.
Yeah.
We've talked about some things. And you've also, the bottom one you've said on the podcast before. I don't know if there's either you've told that story
The
to
water
me.
poison.
Yeah. You've either told
That's
me
a
that
pretty
story
good one.
personally, or you've said it on the podcast.
No, I probably have said it on the podcast. Damn it. My record of sharing.
I remember, we talked one time. I think it was about with driving and joking around. It's like, oh, well, if I die driving today, then I won't have to do the laundry or something.
Right. I do say that a lot, but I also knew that you both knew that I had a driving
That's
thing.
where it's coming from. That's
Yeah.
where it's coming
Right.
Yeah. So was it,
from. What was the last one again?
and did it
Oh,
involve
yeah, right.
all my
The
in-laws?
dog. The
The
dog.
last
eating
one
the
is the dog.
I think it's the dogs eating the drugs. Yeah.
All right. Why? Why?
And your EFT is like negligent. Like there's no road.
I know. You
No
imagine
way.
how hard that would be. Talk about a
Distressing, yeah.
talk about a nervous system fry. I would have to like email my GP, my heart monitors after that because that
But
would be.
you
Right.
watch
And
them
my
happen.
part, then make sure they're
It
getting
is.
everything.
Oh, I got my chart.
Also, same day, there's no way you lock those bitches up after the first time that they
Wait,
did
the drugs were in the same day? But
That's
it's all.
what it said. Yeah. there's
Yeah,
no-
no. That seems. I don't know. So.
But the first time it happened, like you could lock them up. How much feel like?
Yeah, you would think I would have done something, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This is gonna be.
I'm gonna
Okay.
even imagine, without giving anything away, folks, that I did do something.
I'm gonna go with the first one, the driving one. I think that the dog one is too neat. Too specific.
I'm learning how to play the game.
But that's where I'm coming in with the like she lied about 2 times.
Mm.
You know? I'm
Mhm.
sure after even 1 time, Nicole would be like, we shouldn't reproduce. How can we let our dog eat these medicine and
I
have
also-
kids?
But I think Leslie was thinking about the truth. She probably those are kind of the same flavor.
Yeah.
Like poisonous water, dog taking drugs, like similar
Good point.
flavor.
Good point.
In the car driving, now we have some data. It's a little off brand.
Yeah. But that to me tells me that she's like, okay, I know this what I'm going to do. And then the other two is like, okay, well, let me vibe off the poison already. So then I do
Yeah.
a lot.
I would just
Oh,
like to say,
can
for
think
the
of it for a while.
record, y'all are giving me a lot of credit. I came up with it. I feel like, and then if we follow, it's like a crime chart where it's like,
You know
Right.
what?
put the yarn.
Nicole and
Well,
OCD,
yeah.
we
Mhm.
can figure out anything that doesn't belong. We
Maybe,
can
yeah,
figure it.
it's possible.
No, I think the dog with the drugs was a legit one. Judy is
Yeah.
too on brand.
Barack Obama might even have been like, right,
I'm
intelligent
still
until
distraught
that.
about that. We can't talk about the Barack weather yet.
I'm gonna stick with my gut. I'm gonna say the dog.
The dog.
Number one, I think it's the driving.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say one of you is correct, and one of you is incorrect.
Okay.
Yeah. And I will say I did do the driving one. I did do the driving one. I don't remember why, but I had to like go downtown for something. Maybe it was like I was a bridesmaid in my sister-in-law's wedding or something. And so they're like, "Yeah, it's okay. You can just borrow the car and go down there." And I was like, "Oh, this is where it will
Mhm.
all end." Because unlike Alie, I do not like death.
Right.
Right.
Some of us love it.
Some
Apparently.
people neutral or pro. But
Anti-death, pro-bath.
There you go. That's Logan. The
Anti-death by bath.
right. You know how Madison was like, so first of all, I know she likes baths. And I'm like, I don't know that is going to change whether or not dry drowning happened here. Because I'm pretty sure.
She said in the bath, like,
Right.
got it. Like, so that's where I'm like,
Yeah, but you could
Way more likely to die by dry drowning the bath.
that is more likely, but OCD is very good at unlikely scenarios becoming likely. So yeah,
True.
no, true, fair. Yeah, no, I was like, oh shit, I've got to somehow get everyone to go down there. And then I'll just ride backwards. Like I can drive too. It's not like I'm not able to drive. But the pressure felt on
Mhm.
because I would have their car and then
Right.
I was just like, ooh, I'm not feeling good about it. And yeah, so somehow I got everybody to go downtown Sacramento to eat at the spaghetti factory, and nobody wanted to be down there. And so it took a lot of effort and string pulling. And by the time everybody got there, they were like, basically like, why are we at the spaghetti factory?
And you're like, don't worry about it.
None of us had time for this. And I was like, yeah. And I thought, but now we're safe. And then it just,
Right.
it ended up being one of those moments where I was like, I probably didn't need to do that, but I'm really glad I did because it made me feel a little better, even though everyone was angry at the spaghetti factory.
How
All
could
right.
be angry at the spaghetti factory? That just
Right.
doesn't
It's
seem.
already a crime.
Wow.
I know, right? It was a crime. I have called poison control, and I was like, have I told this story? And apparently, yes,
Yeah,
I have, because I
control.
gave my Amir at poison control, was very gentle and patient.
I think he was nice to you too, right?
He was so nice.
Yeah,
He
they
was.
should just employ like ERP therapists at point of control.
They
because you
should.
can learn
Kill
them.
him.
They
Hang
should.
up.
Thank you, Michael.
You might know that.
Roll the die. If you didn't
Right,
kill him, the
please.
dry downing will. It is really unfortunate, but we're all gonna die sometime. Yeah, it's like a Hallmark card. Yeah, so there was
Even in death. That's
what
what I
is
was
death?
thinking.
My existential clients would agree. They're like, exactly, right? Now we're to the real questions. The last one. So what I will say is the dog did actually get into medication twice in a day, and I was angry, as you can imagine, with the unacceptable situation before us. But I did not call poison control at that point because I was like, we deserve what we get if the dog dies. Well, because honestly,
No.
we also had learned, we had also learned that the dog had only gotten in that point into like some omeprazole, because my husband's antacid. And so they were like, actually, sometimes this is prescribed in dogs. And I'm like, even though this dog
takes it.
Yes. Well, the dog had its stomach pumped earlier because of situation number 1, which again, I'd like to say was not my fault, but I did walk into it and be like, holy shit. And we had to do same day labs, same day, all this stuff.
It's expensive.
Beautiful little white dog. And they had to give her activated charcoal.
Oh,
She looked like she got dropped down a chimney in the worst kind of ways. This is also not
sad.
It's not the first time we had to stomach pump. Good dog owner.
Wait, the bag got 30 omeprazole again?
No. Well, that was like a past thing. You guys like Trader Joe's. International fam, like Trader Joe's is the business. It's like Aldi, which they do actually have in Europe and other places too. But they had, when I lived in California, they had these things called brandy beans. Not all Trader Joe's have them, but they were like little dark chocolates filled with brandy. Okay? And they were like $3.99 a box. And I was like, these are a great stocking stuffer for my family because we like chocolate alcohol. So I brought like 7 boxes of this or something when my husband and the dog, because we used to fly with the dog. We were that kind of bouge. And we came back to the Midwest. And they opened it up and they're like, oh, that's great. And then people went and they were playing games and stuff. And I noticed the dog kept running in and out of the room under because they like to eat, near you.
Wow.
And when I looked down and then followed the trail, realized the dog had gone through like a box of brandy beans. And then when you Google it, because we're Google keyboard warriors here with OCD, they're like, well, as long as it's not a small dog. And I'm like, she's 12 pounds. And then they're like, as long as that's not dark chocolate. I'm like, it's the darkest, like 79%. And then they're like, as long as it's not hard liquor. And I'm like, oh, I was like, this dog is going to die. And so we called the vet and they're like, bring it in right now. And I'm like, we're 1,000 miles away. And they're like, call a vet where you are. But it was Christmas Eve. And my mom, who used to work at a bank, was like, I happen to know the vet in town's personal phone number. And I'm like, weird. And no comment for now on that, but I will take that personal phone number. So
that's connection.
Yes.
In the future, apparently, peroxide makes
So that's what we did. We had to mix a mixture. We were like chemists, like beakers and everything, taking like
that's just like
yes,
it's like Breaking Bad with its tiny white dog.
It was, and she was like all happy and drunk.
And excited.
Yeah. Her heart was beating 1,000,000 miles per hour because of that 79% cocoa or whatever it was. And so we gave her that. She did. She threw up lots of foam and stuff from the hydrogen. I know it paints a picture. I'm sorry you met people. That was her first time having to have her stomach emptied because she OD'd on substances.
Yeah. I love that you guys did like a DIY.
Yeah.
It was a mess. And then, I couldn't sleep all night. Her heart was beating so fast. And I'm like, she will die in this bed that she usually sleeps on crib, but she will sleep in the bed because I will feel when the warmth leaves. It was so bad. It was a mess. Yeah. So that dog is no longer with us, but not because of any ODing.
Not because of the brandy. Worst Christmas ever for that little dog, right?
They survived up until the end.
Yeah. No, she was real happy until all the throwing up. And then she was like, why do you guys hate me?
Right. Why are you creating these concoctions, right? And making these
Yes.
when I was just
Yeah.
drunk and eating chocolate.
Well, and we had flown in from California, so I had bought her boots because it was like freaking ass cold. And my parents were like, "What have you done with our daughter? You brought this dog in boots, and now the dog's drunk. The dog doesn't make good choices. The dog is OD'd on basically dog fentanyl because cannot have chocolate, and it's the darkest and the highest percent." And they're like, "Well, good thing the dog has its boots on."
So I would go back to LA.
I know.
Like Queen.
I know. They're like, "This dog needs to be on a liquid diet and not the kind you were feeding it." So, oh, yes. Yep. So that one's true that it happened with the double medication faux pas, but what I will say is I didn't compulse around it. I just had legitimate informative anger.
That was real. Warranted
Warranted.
anxiety.
Yes. Hashtag deserved. And yes, exactly. I'm not ashamed of that. So, yeah. Now, interestingly enough, the scene of the crime where I lived when the dog got into the double medication faux pas, I do have a Barack Obama story about that place. Because, yes, because I was living in Glendale, California, which is near LA, close enough if you're familiar or not familiar. But I was in Glendale, and there's this college there called Occidental College, and Obama went to Occidental College. And so he was in town, and every time he's in town, they like shut down traffic. They do this in Chicago and well, anywhere he goes, I'm sure still, even as an ex-president. But they shut down traffic. And I was pregnant and about to burst. I was like over my due date, and they shut down the street that basically, and the hospital was only like 5 blocks from me. And I remember the stories about how I'll die if I don't get an epidural, even though it's a drill bit into your back.
Right.
So I was like, if I go into labor and Barack Obama keeps me from going to the hospital, I am going to walk my pregnant ass down to that hospital, and I'm going to have words for Barack. And people were like, okay.
And he better send you a letter afterwards.
There should be some excellence credited there. Yes. Thank you. That is a good point. And he was still in office. That was in 2013, was it? Yes, 2013. So I should have gotten a Medal of Honor for walking my pregnant ass down to the thing because the street was closed because of him. Yeah. So
imagine like that child story, like coming into the world. Like I was birthed in the middle of a Barack Obama parade. Like how iconic would that be?
It was pretty close to that. Next best thing, I ended up having the baby on the weekend when I had free parking because parking costs money everywhere. I was like, okay, Barack didn't get in my way. Thanks, Barack.
Great.
And thanks for doing me a solid. And I didn't have to pay parking. So this birth was cheaper than expected.
God bless America.
Well, thanks, ladies. This was fun. I will see you guys later. Alie, if I don't get a chance to chat with you, I am giving you all the positive vibes, prayers, all the things. And you've got this. You've got this.
Thank you.
Intrusive Thoughts. All right, fam. So as noted, if you want to catch the bonus features from our conversation, check out any of our Instagrams. And if you're not already following us, I'm sure we all would much appreciate a quick follow. Also, I'm sure Alie will continue to post and share about her journey and upcoming brain surgery. But if you could give her a heart or an encouraging comment, I'm sure it will bring her some love. And she doesn't know I'm saying this, fam, but Alie, in true Alie fashion, surprise queen! But for real, if you haven't heard her story, you need to, because she's fought as hard as anyone to be where she is today, and this warrior has strength. So another big thanks to Alie, and of course to my fellow Ginger Madison. I've told Madison this many times, but she seriously has wisdom beyond her training and is such a gift to both our treatment and our advocate community. So for anyone listening feeling utterly trapped by you or your loved one's OCD, check these ladies out. They both show what's possible, not only for themselves, but for the broader OCD community. And their healing journeys have had the most incredible ripple effect. And we are beyond grateful, my friends. Okay, so with that intrusive thought segment, it's usually all about application. But how do we apply this? Well, we experience it together. So if you laughed or shared or followed or decide to play this game with your loved ones and chosen family, or downloaded the new Taylor Swift album because not everyone is neutral, then you are doing the thing. So good work, fam. We've got this. And hey, I'm guessing if you are on our Instagrams or check out our stories around the publication of this episode, we'll probably be sharing some receipts too, fam. I know I want to see them. And isn't that what family is for? Breaking out the photo albums or playing home videos. Why, yes, it is. But even for our replay fam, no sweat. You can always go back and check out that live. So we've got you too. All right, be well, fam, and I will see you next week. Thank you for joining me and our OCD family community. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please like and subscribe to the OCD Family Podcast wherever you enjoy your podcasts. Did you find this content helpful? Please consider leaving a review. The more people that know they're not alone, the better. For more information regarding today's podcast, please visit OCDFamilyPodcast.com and remember to join the email list while you're there. It will provide you with the most up-to-date information, resources, and the down low on the family chatter. Oh yeah, nothing says family like a sweet escape with friends after spring break. That's right, I went there. And you can too at OCDFamilyPodcast.com.